Hi, friends. Welcome back. I want to show you a picture in my mind, and I want you to hold it for a second before I tell you what it means. A high school gym on a Tuesday night, the bleachers half full, high school boys running drills on the court before the game starts, and in the stands, an older man sitting by himself, watching every single one of those boys like the whole world is on that court. That was my dad at almost every game, almost every practice, too. He tried. We're talking 2 or 3 nights a week. An older man who had just lost his wife of many years, but got up and drove himself to that high school gym because his grandson was in there. And watching that boy play gave him a reason to get up and go somewhere. I was a part of making that possible. Shortly before my mom died, I purchased a house for my parents to live in that was much closer to us. I wanted to have more time with them, to help take care of them, and to give them the opportunity to spend a lot of time with Garrett in his senior year. My mom never got to live in the house, but my dad did. My dad was able to move closer to us for Garrett's senior year, specifically so those two could have it, could have all of it, could spend as much time together as they wanted. And at the time, I didn't fully understand what I was actually giving them or how little time they had left to actually have it. 2015 to 2016 was Garrett's senior year of high school. And I want to tell you what that year looked like from the outside and then what it looked like from the inside, because those were two very different pictures. From the outside, a proud mom showing up for every single senior year moment, the photos, the banquets, the award ceremonies, all the special events that only happen once. I was there for all of it. I was not going to miss any of it. Garrett is my only one. He's the only child I have. So I had never been through a senior year with a child before. And I was excited and I wanted to give it my all. I didn't want to look back and have any regrets. From the inside, I was only a few months out from losing my mom. I was managing my dad's health, his finances, his daily life activities from a really close range, trying to make sure everything was okay. I was working full time in a job that was steadily getting harder month by month. And I was trying to figure out what came next for my son, who had nearly a year of college credits already earned, but didn't yet know which path he wanted to take. None of that showed on the outside because I didn't let it. That was the year that I became very good at holding everything at once without anybody knowing the weight of it all. The weight that I just felt piling on me. And I'll tell you, senior year has a way of finding more events than you knew were possible. There's always one more thing, one more banquet, one more photo, one more something that requires a casserole or a decorated car of a sign with your name in glitter. But I did it all, every single one of them. In a few minutes, I'm going to tell you about the graduation party and the photo that I treasure most from that day, and what I know now looking back at it that I didn't know then. So stay with me, okay? My dad and Garrett had something that I think a lot of grandfathers have with their grandsons, that almost nobody really talks about it. At least I don't hear it. But it's a language that doesn't need words. They could sit together for hours just watching TV. Old Westerns for my dad, sports for Garrett. My dad would call him his little man. From the time Garrett was small, and that didn't change even when Garrett was as tall as him and eventually a little bit taller. He was always his little man. When my mom died, my dad lost his person. They had been together for 5 decades. And the grief, it makes the world very quiet and very small and moves it really fast. The reason to get up in the morning gets harder to find. It's like he felt like life was just passing him by. But Garrett's basketball season started that fall, and suddenly my dad had somewhere to go. I can still see the look on his face in those stands, not just proud, but lit up, present in a way that grief had been slowly dimming. When Garrett was on that court, my dad was not a widower. He was not an old man managing his health alone. He was a grandfather watching his little man play, and that was everything. I want you to hear this part. Those Tuesday nights were not small things. They were the things keeping my dad tethered to life after my mom had died. And I almost didn't help him make them possible. I had to decide to buy that house, to go through all of the logistics of moving him, to add one more thing to my already impossible load. But I'm so grateful that I did, because those months were some of the last really good ones that he had. I got to tell you this story. We threw a joint graduation party for Garrett and his cousin who was graduating at the same time. And it was one of those days that just worked. There was a great turnout. The weather was beautiful. The food was fantastic. The decorations were fun. It was the kind of party where everyone is silly and nobody wants to go home. We had set up a photo booth with props. The little signs you hold up, the feather boas, the funny frames, the funny hats. And Garrett's friends, being exactly who teenage boys are, made sure that every single joke sign was pointed at him. Most likely to live at home. Most likely to forget to charge your phone. I can't remember all of them, but I do remember laughing that day until I cried. And for the record, some of those predictions were not entirely wrong. I'm not going to say which ones. All right, we'll just leave it at that. He does help me edit my videos. But the picture I treasure most from that day is not of Garrett, even though the day was about him. It's of my dad standing with 2 of his brothers, all 3 of them being completely ridiculous with the photo booth props, laughing, goofy, fully present. My dad looked healthy that day. He looked happy. He looked like a man who had been through grief, but had come out on the other side with something good still waiting for him. I didn't know at the time, but less than 2 years later, he would be gone. One of his brothers in that photo is now gone too. I look at that picture and I think about how much was still ahead of us, things that we couldn't see. The hospitalizations, the move to my house, the move to assisted living, the hospice bed in my house. All of it coming in less than 2 years. And in that picture, none of it had happened yet. They were just 3 brothers being silly at a graduation party on a perfect sunny afternoon. I didn't know that day was one of the last really good ones. I just knew that it was a good one. With him, with Garrett, with my whole family and all of our friends. And I'm so grateful that I was also there and fully present for it. Every senior year has a moment that's supposed to mean something. Maybe it's a Bible verse, a word, a letter that you wrote, but something that the parent passes on to the child to carry into their next chapter. We chose a verse, and I chose Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6 for Garrett. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. I chose it because Garrett didn't know exactly what came next for him. He had nearly a year worth of college credit already earned, maybe even more now that I think about it. He was smart, he was capable, but he was also completely uncertain about his direction. And I wanted him to have something to hold on to that was bigger than a plan. But here's what I know now that I didn't fully understand when I handed him that verse. I was living it right then in real time. I didn't know what came next either. I didn't understand why my mom had had to die so young, or why my dad was starting to decline, or why the year had felt like it had just been held together with string. I was trusting a path that I couldn't see. I was submitting to a direction that I didn't choose and had no control over. I gave Garrett the verse that I needed most without even knowing it. That's what mothers do, right? We pass forward the thing that is carrying us. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing it. Here's what I want you to sit with. The moments you are most fully present for the people you love, those Tuesday nights, the graduation parties, the ridiculous photo booths, those are not small things. They are the whole thing, the whole purpose, the whole reason. And you'll not always know in the moment which ones will be the last good ones, which is exactly why you have to be at all of them. My dad moved houses to watch his grandson play basketball. He sat in those bleachers 2 to 3 nights a week with a smile on his face that grief had not been able to take from him. And I helped make that possible by choosing to add one more hard thing to an already hard year. I'm not telling you this story to try and take credit for it. I'm telling you because I think a lot of us are in a season right now where everything feels like too much, where adding one more thing feels almost impossible, where showing up fully feels like something we don't have left to give. And I want you to know some of those things are worth the cost. Some of them are not. But some of them, those Tuesday nights, the silly graduation parties, the verse you pass forward without knowing that you're passing forward the thing that is carrying you right now, you'll not always know which moments are the last good ones. So show up for them all if you can, as many as you can. I want you to drop a comment and tell me this. Is there someone in your life right now who needs you to show up for them? For that Tuesday night game, that recital, a party? Maybe they just need a phone call. Something small that is actually everything to them. I want you to name that because naming it might be the thing that gets you there. I hope that you will subscribe if this is resonating with you. There's new video every week. Give me a thumbs up. I'm not going to go anywhere. I will be back next week. If you're in a season where you're holding everything for everyone and you're running out of enough of yourself to be able to give, there's a link in the description box below. You can book a free discovery call. We can chat. No pressure. It's there if you need it. Next week, I want to talk about something that I think a lot of women are waiting for. That's never going to come. And that's permission. Permission to start over. Permission to change. Permission to want something different. Nobody's going to give it to you. And next week, I'm going to tell you how to give it to yourself. So I hope you'll come back. But until then, I want you to keep going because your next chapter is worth it.